the Bears and the Titans here, since we brought them up, another NFC North team. And this was so frustrating. As NFC North fans, as a Vikings fan, watching this game and seeing the Titans 17-3 halftime lead, Caleb Williams' debut. That's all everyone wanted to talk about was Caleb Williams' debut with the Bears. And frankly, it was disappointing. He was 14 for 29 for 93 yards, took a couple horrible sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that first half, anything that could go wrong if you were a Bears fan was going wrong. The horrendous kickoff, the muffed kickoff. I think you were sitting there in Soldier Field saying, "Are you kidding me? Like all this hype and this is the product we're getting after Hard Knocks and everything." 17-3 to the Titans. And then all of a sudden, luck changes, goes their way. The winds change in Soldier Field, and they have a blocked punt return touchdown, interception return touchdown, another pick. The defense completely carried the day here, but it's important because it's all about winning. At the end of the day, it's wins or losses, and the vibe in Chicago is going to be a whole lot better with a win and a disappointing Caleb Williams performance than if it were a loss and a disappointing Caleb Williams performance.
That is true, but I do not agree that it's all about wins. That might be how Bears fans feel right now. When you go 2 for 13 on third down, when you have 64 total passing yards with 150 total yards on offense, when you're putting out 2.8 yards per play, like the offense was just plain bad. And I know it's Caleb Williams' first game, and I know that it's bad against the Tennessee Titans defense is pretty good, but it was just, I mean, this game was tough to watch, right? Caleb Williams, and I don't say this lightly, he got absolutely carried by the special teams and defense. Let's not forget, right? Some of those points they were able to squeeze in with that field goal. Like they had good special teams all game. They had good defense all game. And like fair credit to you, right? That's part of the game. You win football games that way. That's fine. But the goal of this season, I've been saying it the whole time, is to show that Caleb Williams can be the guy. And today, you didn't see that at all.
No, it wasn't really even close to that. The stat that you came on right before we started, and they said it a bunch on the broadcast, the first number one overall pick to win since David Carr back in, what was it, 2002, right? I mean, yeah, it's been 22 years since the number one overall pick has won in their debut week one game. But Caleb Williams, so yes, they get the job done. If you're a Bears fan, though, and again, this is as a Vikings fan, so I'm trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can. I'm disappointed with the way Caleb looked, but I'm not panicking at all. Like I'm really not panicking at all. It was a bad debut. Everyone just seemed a little bit off on that offense, but that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Very rarely do you see guys just come in and light the league on fire from their first snaps. Get adjusted a little bit, get out there. I'm sure we'll see some big Caleb Williams plays in the near future, but to be able to escape with the win when your offense looked that bad the entire game, that's the positive. Because this defense, it showed up and it won the game. And if you could flip the switch, that's when the Bears fans are saying, okay, this is the team we think can get to the playoffs and potentially make a little noise.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it's all on Caleb Williams, right? Keenan Allen dropped a layup touchdown pass from Caleb Williams. If that had been completed, the stat line would have looked differently. Like there's a lot that could have happened, and plenty of pieces around Caleb Williams let him down too. So that gives you some optimism, I think. Like Keenan Allen, he's been at this a long time. We know if he's a good player. He is. He will be just fine. He'll turn it around. DJ Moore, the same thing. DeAndre Swift, probably the same thing. But you can't count on a special teams and a defense touchdown every game.
No, you really can't. And that's, what was it, the 2018 Bears? That's the team with 27 turnovers or 27 interceptions, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And,
your luck runs out eventually. It just does.
Bears fans will remember from that year. But we were sitting here most of that game thinking we were going to come in very Titan-centric. You predicted them to win the AFC South, and Will Levis looked good early on. Tony Pollard got involved. And all of a sudden there, to have a defense that's able to take over a game the way the Bears did today, that's important, and that can win you games later in the season. So I would say generally speaking, an optimistic day for Chicago, but you don't want to see a repeat of this in week 2 if you're a Bears fan.
How on earth did Titans plus 4.5 not hit?
Was it 17-0?
I can't remember if it was
I
17
think it was
nothing. I think it
17
was
nothing.
It was
17 nothing, and then it
17-0.
became 17-3
I
at
was sitting
half.
back in my chair, just smiling. I was watching the Vikings run up the score on New York. The Bears are losing. I see all these NFC teams going down, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, the Packers are 0-1. Chicago's going to be 0-1. Detroit's got a tough game coming up tonight. Like, are we really going to be sitting here in first place? And then, yeah, it's how quick it happens in the NFL. But, for the Bears, congratulations. That was a big win for those guys, even though it sucks to see it.
I
So,
do I
go
do
ahead.
want to talk about the Titans just a little bit.
Please, yeah, because that's your team.
Yeah, it's I know that the collapse down the stretch was a real disappointment, but I think leaving this game, even though that's one of the most painful ways to lose there is, you have a big lead, you blow it on special teams and with a pick six, and then you move on. There was a lot to like about this. Will Levis looked pretty good for a lot of the game. I know he made, in his own words, he made some boneheaded plays at the end that cost them the game. But he looked good for a lot of the game against a Bears defense that, let's not forget, right? Last year, for the second half of the stretch, ever since they added Montez Sweat, was a very good defense.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
got a good
Great defense.
secondary, they've got a good defensive line, they've got good backers. And he was effective against them for a lot of the game. He was effective on the ground. He made some big passes. Tony Pollard was able to get things moving. And obviously, on the defensive side, you have to be thrilled about holding the Bears to under 150 total yards.
Yeah, generally speaking, I thought Tennessee for that first half, I was like, wow, Ziggy nailed this. These guys are going to be a problem. And I really thought Will Levis looked good, and it turned. But you know what? He's still a young quarterback as well. Calvin Ridley looked solid. He had a few moments in the game where nice for the debut of Calvin Ridley. Like this Titans team is going to hang around. They're not going to be an easy win for anybody throughout the season. So we'll pay close attention to them. But disappointing loss. I mean, if you're a Titans fan, you got to be kicking.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
It feels worse than it is, but it's still
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad to shut down the Bears offense the way they did and still lose the game. When you have interception returns, block punt return touchdowns, that is a horrible feeling to lose that football game.
You can't put up, if they put up anything more than 0 points in the second half, they probably win.
Yeah, they probably do.